Evening old is gold, family. If you're over 60, there's one fitness routine you might think is maintaining your strength, vitality, and independence. But the truth is, it could be silently increasing your stroke risk while you sleep. No discomfort, no alert, no signs. You retire feeling perfectly normal, and by dawn your speech becomes unclear. Your stability disappears, or half your body just stops responding. As a neurologist, I've witnessed this tragedy happen far too often. And what surprises most older adults is that the threat doesn't always stem from tobacco, poor diet, or physical inactivity. No. Sometimes the exact fitness activities you believed were safeguarding your well-being are actually damaging your blood vessels, overworking your cardiovascular system, and creating conditions for blockages in your brain. The reality is, not every workout is appropriate beyond 60. Certain exercises that performed wonderfully in your 30s or 40s transform into hidden threats years later. Today, I'm going to expose 5 popular exercises that might appear beneficial outwardly but can silently cause strokes, cognitive decline, or even cerebral hemorrhages when performed incorrectly. If you believe your exercise routine is beneficial, you must hear this information. Before we continue, if you haven't subscribed already, I suggest you press that button and activate the bell so you don't miss another health update created just for you. If you appreciate this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to tell me how I can improve content for you. 1. Heavy resistance training at night. Excessive strain on the cardiovascular system and brain. If you're over 60, one of the most risky errors you can commit is grabbing a heavy barbell late in the evening, believing you're benefiting your body significantly. For years, you've been taught that weight training keeps you youthful, develops muscle, and strengthens your skeleton. And yes, strength training has its role in healthy longevity. But here's the aspect no one cautions you about. When the mature body is pressured to lift too heavily, particularly at night, it doesn't just stress your muscles, it overwhelms your heart, your circulatory system, and your brain. As we age, our blood vessels naturally lose flexibility. Our hearts don't function with the same vigor they once did, and our blood pressure no longer adjusts as swiftly to abrupt variations. Now, picture yourself holding your breath and pushing to lift a 40 or 50 pounds weight overhead. In that moment, your blood pressure can surge to hazardous heights. Sometimes 200, 250, even 300 sit. Your heart struggles, your blood vessels constrict like overextended cables, and inside your brain, fragile arteries are suddenly endangered. This is when it causes strokes. It creates blood clots, and it quietly prepares the ground for disaster. I will never forget one of my patients, Robert, a 67-year-old former Marine from Texas. He was proud of his routine. Every evening after dinner he would go to his garage, grab his dumbbells, and complete a series of intense lifts. He believed it was maintaining him fit, but one morning, his wife discovered him collapsed in the bathroom, unable to talk, the right side of his body paralyzed. In the ER, his scan showed a hemorrhage deep inside his brain, an artery that had ultimately ruptured after continuous nighttime surges in pressure. Robert looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, "Doc, I thought I was doing everything correctly." That statement troubles me because he's not alone. So many senior citizens fall into the same mistake, not understanding that what feels like commitment is actually a hidden danger. The reality is, your body beyond 60 is not the same body you've possessed at 30 or 40. What previously built strength can now shift the balance toward risk. Heavy resistance training at night is not just excessive strain. It is an unstable combination of elevated blood pressure, concentrated blood, and weakened arteries that no longer flex under stress. They rupture, and when they rupture, the price is your freedom, your cognition, sometimes even your existence. So if you still think lifting heavy before sleep makes you healthier, reconsider, because as risky as that is, there's another exercise, one that appears modern, enjoyable, and cardiovascular friendly on the outside, that may actually drive your brain toward crisis even quicker. And that's what I need to alert you about next. If you're still watching and finding these details valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now, let's move on to point number 2. 2. High-intensity interval training, HIIT. Too aggressive, too risky. High-intensity interval training, or HIIT, has become one of the most popular fitness movements in America. You see it promoted in gyms, senior wellness facilities, even digital programs guaranteeing rapid weight reduction and rejuvenated vitality. The concept is straightforward. Exert yourself as intensely as possible for brief intervals, then rest momentarily and repeat. For younger individuals, it can be demanding and beneficial. But for those of us over 60, what appears like a perfect workout can silently be a catastrophe waiting to unfold. The aging heart and brain simply do not manage abrupt spikes the way they used to. As we grow older, our blood vessels lose flexibility. Our heart rhythm is less consistent, our insulin function slows, and our brain becomes more vulnerable to even minor fluctuations in blood pressure. Now imagine this. During a high IT session, you sprint. Your blood pressure jumps dramatically. Your pulse accelerates, and your body releases adrenaline through every vessel. Then you suddenly stop. The blood vessels narrow and expand in rapid shifts, creating chaos inside the arteries. This isn't just unpleasant, it loosens fragile deposits. It concentrates blood in moments of exertion, and it causes strokes. It creates blood clots, the very things we dread most after 60. I treated a patient named Martha, a 72-year-old former teacher from Florida. She was alert, energetic, and committed to keeping up with the younger people. She joined a senior fitness class at her local gym that advertised gentle HIIT routines designed for older adults. For weeks, she alternated between jumping jacks, quick marches, and short sprints, always followed by brief rests. She believed she was doing the right thing, but one morning during a session, she suddenly lost vision in one eye and couldn't hold her pen steady when signing her name. Afterward, her daughter rushed her to the ER where scans confirmed a transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke caused by a clot that temporarily blocked blood flow to her brain. The culprit wasn't her diet, her medications, or a lack of discipline. It was the repeated surges of pressure and strain from height. Martha recovered, but her story is far too familiar. The aging body doesn't need shockwaves, it needs consistency. Every abrupt spike, every drop in blood pressure damages the lining of your arteries like small fractures in an old water pipe. And once those fractures form, clots develop silently, invisibly, until one day they strike without warning. That's why I warn my patients. Steady movement heals, but erratic bursts break. And if you think HIIT is risky, wait until you hear about another popular activity, one that feels soothing, spiritual, even appealing. But in truth, it quietly depletes your body, thickens your blood, and can deprive your brain without you ever realizing it. Let's talk about hot yoga and why this wellness trend could be one of the most dangerous practices for seniors. 3. Hot yoga, heat, dehydration, and a hidden risk to the brain. Yoga by itself is one of the best things you can do for balance, flexibility, and peace of mind. But when yoga is done in a superheated room, what they call hot yoga, the very thing that feels cleansing and rejuvenating can turn into a trap for the aging body. At temperatures of 95 to 105, your body is forced into a state of extreme stress. Sweat pours out, electrolytes are lost, and your blood volume shrinks. To a 30-year-old, this may feel like a detox. To a 65 or 70-year-old, it's a setup for something far more dangerous. Here's the medical truth. As we age, our ability to regulate temperature declines. Our blood vessels don't widen as effectively to release heat, and our kidneys don't conserve fluids as efficiently. This means that in a hot yoga session, your blood becomes thicker, your pressure unstable, and your brain, already sensitive to oxygen changes, suffers in silence. I've seen it firsthand. It causes strokes, it creates blood clots, and sometimes it even leads to silent bleeds when fragile vessels give way under the stress. One patient I'll never forget was James, a 70-year-old from California who wanted to stay youthful and strong for his grandchildren. He'd read about the benefits of hot yoga in a wellness magazine and joined a studio that promised healing through heat. For months, he practiced in that sweltering room, sweating out every drop, convinced he was helping his body. But one morning after class, James stood up to leave and suddenly collapsed. He was rushed to the ER, pale, dizzy, and unable to focus his eyes. His blood pressure had plummeted. His labs showed dehydration and electrolyte imbalance, and scans revealed a small ischemic stroke caused by a clot forming in the sluggish, thickened blood that coursed through his brain after hours in the heat. He survived, but his coordination never fully returned. And the worst part, he believed he was protecting his health. This is why hot yoga is not just risky, it's misleading. It disguises itself as gentle and spiritual, but behind the calm music and warm lighting, it quietly strips your body of the very things that protect your brain. At 60 or 70, what you need is circulation, hydration, and stability. Hot yoga robs you of all three. It makes your heart work harder, your brain thirstier, and your blood more dangerous. For seniors, that combination is not cleansing, it's lethal. And if you think the danger ends there, you'll be surprised because the next exercise I'll warn you about is one that many older adults still hold on to as proof of strength and vitality. It's celebrated in marathons, races, and even neighborhood jogging groups. But the truth is, for the aging brain, long-distance running may be one of the most silent destroyers of all. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now, let's keep going with point number 4. For long-distance running, marathons are no longer safe. For decades, running has been glorified as the ultimate symbol of health and endurance. You see marathons on TV, neighbors proudly logging their miles, and countless articles praising the runner's high. And for younger bodies, that may hold some truth. But once you reach your 60s, long-distance running is no longer the same act of health that once was. In fact, it can quietly place enormous strain on your brain and heart. So much so that what feels like a badge of vitality can quickly become a silent doorway to disaster. Here's why. As we age, our arteries become narrower and stiffer, often lined with plaque deposits we don't even know are there. Long-distance running doesn't gently exercise those vessels. It hammers them. Every mile is like pounding on fragile pipes that can no longer expand and contract with ease. Your blood pressure rises and stays elevated for hours. Your blood thickens from fluid loss, and your heart pushes harder, faster, longer than it should. This combination tears at the inner lining of arteries, destabilizes plaque, and creates the perfect breeding ground for clots. And once again, it causes strokes. It creates blood clots, and it leaves the brain starved of oxygen at the very moment it needs it most. One patient I remember vividly was Linda, a 64-year-old retired librarian from Colorado. She had always been proud of her stamina and joined a local running club after retirement. Every week she pushed herself through 7 or 8 miles, convinced she was fighting off aging. One evening, after a long run while preparing dinner, she suddenly dropped her spoon, her words slurring, her right hand trembling. At the hospital, scans confirmed a small ischemic stroke. The culprit wasn't smoking, bad diet, or lack of care. It was the repeated vascular strain of long-distance running on a body that no longer had the resilience to recover. Linda told me through tears, "I thought running was keeping me alive." And in a way, it had for years. But after 60, the very same miles that once built her strength turned into miles that nearly stole her independence. This is the cruel irony of aging. What gave us life in our youth can quietly take it away in our later years. Long-distance running may look admirable, but for older adults, it's a hidden gamble. One where the stakes are your memory, your speech, your very mobility. You don't need marathons anymore. You need movement that heals, not movement that breaks. And if you think pounding the pavement is risky, wait until you hear about the exercises that flip your body upside down, quite literally. Because when gravity shifts against the aging brain, the danger grows even faster than you think. Let me show you why inversion exercises may be the most underestimated threat of all. 5. Inverted exercises. Turning your body upside down turns the pressure against your brain. There's a growing trend among older adults to use inversion tables, yoga headstands, or shoulder stands to improve circulation or stretch the spine. The promise sounds appealing: relieve back pain, ease pressure, feel younger. But the reality for a body over 60 is far more dangerous. When you flip yourself upside down, gravity doesn't show mercy. Instead of gently healing your body, it forces blood into your head, flooding delicate arteries in your brain and eyes with more pressure than they were ever meant to handle at this stage of life. Here's the medical truth. As we age, our blood vessels lose elasticity. They become thinner, more fragile, more prone to rupture. An inversion suddenly drives blood upward, raising pressure inside the skull and behind the eyes. In seconds, your blood pressure can surge, your heart rate can destabilize, and your brain is left gasping for stability. I've seen this countless times. It causes strokes, it creates blood clots, and sometimes it even leads to hemorrhages so small they go unnoticed until memory slips, balance falters, or speech begins to stumble. I'll never forget my patient Henry, a 69-year-old retired accountant from New York. He bought an inversion table after seeing an ad that promised relief for stiff joints and a younger spine. Every night before bed, he would strap himself in, hanging upside down for 10 minutes. At first he felt looser, lighter, convinced it was helping. But one evening after a session, he complained of sudden blinding headaches and blurred vision. The next morning, he woke up confused, his right arm weak and unresponsive. At the hospital, scans revealed a minor hemorrhagic stroke, blood leaking from a fragile artery that had been pushed past its limit. His therapy had in fact become the trigger that nearly ended his independence. Henry looked at me and whispered, "Doc, I thought I was fixing my back. I didn't know I was breaking my brain." His words are ones I wish every senior in America could hear. The truth is, inversion exercises aren't harmless stretches. They're silent stress tests your aging brain cannot afford. What feels like relief to your spine is often danger to your circulation. Gravity at 70 years old doesn't work in your favor. It works against your most vital organ. And if these 5 exercises shocked you, you need to hear the bigger picture, because the danger is not just in the movements themselves. It's in the way aging changes every response inside your body. In my conclusion, I'll show you how to protect your brain. Choose safe exercises, and reclaim your strength without gambling with your future. Stay with me because what I reveal next may very well save your life. The truth about exercise, aging, and protecting your brain. After walking through these 5 exercises that may look safe, even healthy, but can quietly push your body toward a stroke, you might feel unsettled, even betrayed. You've been told for years that exercise is the fountain of youth, that movement is medicine, that staying active is the key to living longer. And while that's true, the full truth is more complicated. Once you pass 60, your body no longer responds the way it did at 30 or 40. Your arteries stiffen, your blood becomes less forgiving, your heart pumps with less reserve, and your brain grows more sensitive to sudden surges in pressure, sugar, and oxygen. What once built resilience can now, without warning, tip you toward disaster. I've seen it again and again. Seniors who believed they were doing everything right, lifting heavy weights to stay strong, joining a trendy HIIT class to burn calories, sweating through hot yoga to detox, pounding the pavement mile after mile, or hanging upside down to stretch their backs. Each one thought they were adding years to their life. Instead, these very habits sometimes stole their balance, their speech, their independence. Because here's the truth: it causes strokes, it creates blood clots, and it leads to silent injuries inside the brain that don't always announce themselves until it's too late. But knowledge is power, and this isn't a message of fear, it's a message of respect. Respect for the body you live in now, not the body you once had. Respect for your arteries, your heart, and your brain that have carried you through decades of life. The goal is not to stop moving, the goal is to move wisely, choosing stability over strain, circulation over spikes, healing over harm. Safe movement like walking, gentle yoga, tai chi, light resistance bands, or swimming can keep you strong without pushing your brain to the breaking point. You've worked too hard, lived through too much to let a single careless habit rob you of the years you still deserve. Every choice, every exercise, every breath you take can either guard your independence or gamble it away. The decision is yours, but the truth is clear. Your brain is listening to everything you do. Give it the respect, the protection, and the care it needs, and it will carry you forward. This is how you stay not just alive, but truly living. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms. Take care, old as gold family.